Hey Tony, it's Thursday. Sorry it's so late this week. Obviously, I let you know what happened the past couple days, but yeah, sorry. It's you're getting a video on Thursday instead of my usual Tuesday. But second off, to answer your question of the week, so I think that answer depends. I think there have been positives and I think there have been negatives. Like I agree with you in one part in which I definitely think seasons are too short now, uh, because it doesn't give the characters enough chance to grow. It doesn't give the characters enough chance to develop. Besides being like, this is their very basic character, and here's the drama that happens to them, and then here's the resolution. I think that is an issue. However, I think in the same vein, there are a lot of shows that had a lot of bloat and filler, and I think streaming has helped in that sense. So I think it kind of depends on the media itself. Like something like, again, I've not watched the Acolyte, but that seems like that needed more time to build up the characters. Whereas I think something like Mandalorian season one, I don't think needed to be too many more episodes, because season one itself was pretty self-contained. It was kind of a it kind of went with a villain of the week type situation, which I think worked really well for the Mandalorian. I think I might have preferred season two over season one, but they're pretty close in my mind. Like they're both the two best seasons of the show, obviously. I think I liked two's more overarching plot, but I think the Monster of the Week worked really, really well for it. And so I think there are positive and negatives. I don't know if it's entirely the fault of streaming. I think in no small part it's kind of a I think it's more the result of attention spans. So I mean, since social media really became a thing, there's been a lot of signs that attention spans are decreasing, because you're getting pop up, pop up, pop up, pop up, pop up, 5 minute video, 5 minute video, 5 minute video. You see it in the same sense of TikTok as well, where it's like, here's a short video, here's a short video, here's a short video, here's a short video, and it's that the constant changing, that constant over centralization, meaning it hits your senses a lot harder. And I think you see I think that in itself has been more of a net negative than just streaming as a whole. Because I think there are some shows that, were 15 episodes that were great and really told the story they wanted to without going too over the top. One I kind of think of was I think it was The Last Kingdom. I think had 13 episode seasons, which really was pretty good about giving you the whole story and a lot of characterization that you then would have throughout the rest of it. So I think saying it's streaming's fault is a little too overgeneral. Now I definitely think there are negatives to the way streaming works. Again, I think a lot of it is just the constant visualization, where you're flashing light, immediately flashing light, immediately flashing light is an issue. But I'm not sure. That's my long-winded explanation as to what my thoughts are for your question. Though what I want to talk about right now is something a little more lighthearted than what I've been doing lately, and that's I want to talk about Wicked. So, we ended up getting the movie when it released just the last week or something, and it's great. It's so good. I love the musical, and the movie was really good as well. The movie was excellent. It was everything I would have wanted from a Wicked adaptation. And now, although I haven't seen the Broadway show, Taylor has, and was able to point out oh, they changed this, they changed this, they changed this. However, Taylor was those changes actually work really well for the way the story is in the movie. And this is actually where I think it was actually really good that they split this into two. There are some movies where it's oh, that makes a lot of sense. There's a lot going on. You should split it into two movies. I think Infinity War and Endgame had to be at least two movies, and both those movies are 3 hours long, so I think you could have even made an argument to split it up into three. But I think the way they did Wicked on this one, where it's it ends with defying gravity, which is obviously it's the end of Act 1. It is the climax of the first act. And I really think a lot more musicals that get adapted to DVD and to movies, I think really could take advantage of that. So I'll compare that to Rent. So Rent is much older. It came out early mid 2000s, and it it somewhat it had issues in part because it was all in one film. You know, skip a lot of the really good songs, skip a lot of that characterization to condense it into one 2.5 hour 2 hour I think 2 hour movie or so. And that in itself is like, it's good, the music is great, but you lose a lot of the story. I think Hamilton was a great example on Disney Plus, in which they played the whole thing in that one like 3 hour movie with even like that 1 minute bathroom break, which I thought was just clever. And I think musical DVDs need to do that a lot more. DVDs, like musical movies, need to do that a lot more, that are based on these classic shows. I think Wicked did a good job about that, much like Hamilton, I think, did a great job of giving you the whole show. Because, like, obviously there hasn't been a Spring Awakening movie or anything like that, but if they were to make a movie on it, I would, and they did it in just one film, I would worry that a lot of the really good songs, a lot of the really good characterization that you get, won't be there, because the way the format is, it's a much shorter. It has to be a shorter format, because it's a lot easier to have a 3 hour show in which you have like that 10-minute intermission than it is to like have a 3 hour movie where you're kind of in one spot the whole time. And so I think musicals kind of need to give you that intermission, and really I think need to give you the whole thing. Otherwise, you miss characterization. I think Rent was a pretty big example of that. So Tony, my question for you is, have you seen Wicked yet? And if you have, what was your thought? Tony, I'll see you tomorrow. Later, bro.